Armet with Messer Financial, and I'm here with Shelly Medford, who's going to take us through the Connect feature, what some of you know as Office in the Box. So for today's webinar, we're going to keep our focus very limited to the functionality that we think the majority of you will be interested in conjunction with AEP. So we've been partnering with several carriers with regards to telephonic enrollment for MA products. And we have received approval from Aetna, Humana, Blue Cross North Carolina, and Health Team Advantage, allowing agents to use MyMFG in connection with the Connect feature of MFG to record telephone conversations, allowing agents to do MA enrollments over the phone rather than in face-to-face interactions with clients. So as any of you know who used the application prior to this AEP, up until now, MyMFG has been limited to a broker tool to be used with clients in face-to-face interactions only. However, this year, these four carriers, and again, that's Aetna, Humana, Blue Cross North Carolina, and HTA, have approved MA enrollments through telephonic interactions with clients, as long as those interactions meet certain compliance requirements, which we'll go over shortly. So I'm going to be emphasizing and repeating myself a lot with regards to those compliance requirements, because it's only in conjunction with being ready to sell and appointed with one of those four carriers and having the Connect feature within MyMFG to be able to record your interactions with your clients that you will be able to do telephonic enrollments. And the recording is not the only requirement, but the Connect feature is what allows you to meet one of the several requirements. Let's talk about Connect just a little bit. Connect is a feature, so many of you who are on the call are part of Messer's All-In Agent program. And if you are an All-In agent and you have 50 clients on the books with us, active clients on the books, then the Connect feature is available to you at no cost to you. If you are not an All-In agent, or you are an All-In agent but don't have 50 clients active on the books, then there is a cost for Connect, and that is $20 per month. And before Connect can be enabled for you, you will need to establish billing, and we'll discuss how that is accomplished towards the end of the webinar and with a follow-up from this webinar. Okay, so with that, I'm going to let Shelly start again with showing you how you access Connect within MyMFG. And again, just speaking about the very specific functions that allow you to record a phone call with your clients that will allow you to do telephonic enrollments. We will circle back with users and people interested to understand the full scope of Office in the Box, which is much greater than just phone recording in the first quarter of the year after everybody kind of can catch their breath after AEP and OEP are over. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Shelly, and she will walk you through how to access Connect through MyMFG. Shelly, it's all yours.
Thank you, Kathy. Just to emphasize, guys, and again, thanks for letting us catch up and do a number 2 version of this. As you know, if you've been with us on webinars for MyMFG over the last few weeks, we've gone into quite a bit of the functionality within the system. Please don't forget that you are welcome to ask questions in the questions box in the webinar, so please feel free to do that. We will attempt to answer as many of those as possible towards the end of the webinar, but I'm going to jump right into the deep end so that we can get through this relatively painlessly. So if you are logged into your MyMFG application, you recognize what you see in front of you right now as the dashboard. With the dashboard, you have all the functionality that you're accustomed to, as well as clients, which is where you primarily store all of your CRM information, where all your details are housed there for your clients. With that being said, the Connect feature is actually going to be listed under clients. So once you have that enabled, either via your all-in agent access there, or once you've established billing, you'll have the Connect feature listed below there. So once I click on Connect, which I've done once, but I'll do it again, a new tab is going to populate for you with the Connect features. So what you're seeing in front of you, and what you probably saw in front of you a few moments ago, is the screen with lots of functionality. And as Kathy went through, there's a lot of details in this. We could spend hours just talking about this. We will create additional training material as well as post a webinar after the season. But what we really want to get into the meat of is how you're going to do this for telephonic enrollment. So as you can see here to the left, you have the MyMFG information here, as well as a quick snapshot view of any missed calls, voicemails that are available. You have the option of putting an avatar there if you'd like, and then your availability. So what this system will allow you to do within Connect is to call people. Right, you do that on your phone all the time, but when you're doing the telephonic enrollments, as you know, from a compliance standpoint, things are a little different. The reason that this is so strenuous and serious when it comes to the compliance end of this is they want to ensure that you're performing the sales process appropriately. So you're going to have every tool that you need at your fingertips to get this accomplished. So what you have underneath here is a dial pad, if you'd like. Some people are, kind of tactile, maybe like to hear the sounds of dialing, so you have that option available. You can simply type a phone number here, and you can call directly from there. That gives you some functionality there. There's a filter to search within your contacts, so you'll have that availability there, as well as the ability, as you can see, some additional abilities to send texts and other things. But to get into the meat of it, we're going to go into
Shelley, let me just interrupt. I want to just be sure if people could just respond in the question section on the webinar. Is everybody able to see the dashboard for MyMFG Connect? So Shelley has already gone from the main dashboard in MyMFG to the dashboard specifically for Connect. So can people see something with blue tiles, starting with automated messaging?
No, what are you guys seeing then? You're just seeing the first screen, huh? How is that working? We are having some serious technical difficulties. Give me just a second. What about now? Hey, I've got it together, guys. I love you, Chuck. All right, we have it. You can see it.
Okay, yes.
Perfect. Here we are.
We
see it?
I think we're good to see now.
Woo! Are we here? We see it. Perfect. So, dashboard, clients, click connect.
Okay.
Here we are.
So are we still good on the screen, guys? You're seeing the Connect screen with a bunch of blue tiles?
Perfect.
Okay.
Love your feedback. I need you guys to just whisper some good thoughts on all the technology here. You know how it is. We're right at AAP. So once we're here, as I was saying, you have all of this functionality here. All the pretty colors, MyMFG at the top. You have an avatar that gives you some information here, missed calls, voicemails if you had any. Then you have the option of the dial pad here. So like I was showing you, you can dial here. It even gives you the old telephone sounds, just for your pleasure there. You can just type a number in or copy and paste the number. You'll actually be able to search for your clients through here and dial out that way, so you'll have the ability there. And so once your account is set up, it will be integrated with your client list within MyMFG.
So the nice feature about that is that Connect works in conjunction with your client list in MyMFG. So once the account is set up, as Shelley mentioned in the filter section, you will be able to begin to type either a phone number or a client name, and it should bring up your client record. You'll be able to type by client name, and it will bring up that client and the phone number. So you'll be able to see it there.
Right, so you know how we've been talking about in the CRM portion, you put in your clients in. This is one of the reasons you'd want to do that. So it gives you seamless kind of integrated functionality across Connect and MyMFG. So we're good there.
So if you wanted to dial out.
Yes, so if I wanted to dial out, I'm just going to dial a number here. All right.
7142.
All right, so I'm going to make a phone call here. And this phone is going to ring.
And that's my cell phone, guys, that Shelley's just called. So I'm going to just go ahead and not answer that call right now, but it's that easy. So you have the ability to make outbound phone calls from Connect, as well as you'll be able to receive inbound phone calls from your clients through Connect. So again, once your account is established, you will receive a phone number, so that you will have a Connect phone number. So that is the phone number that your clients will call you on when you want to do telephonic enrollment, so that you'll be able to record the call. Okay, so that phone number, when your account is set up, will be available in your settings section, as well as it will show under the MyMFG logo on the left-hand side of the screen. So that is where your phone number is, and that's the phone number that agent or clients will be calling you into. Another nice feature, I'm probably stealing a little bit of Shelley's thunder here, but another nice feature of Connect is that if you do want to have your Connect phone number forwarded to your phone number, so when you're away from your office, if you will, and I'll put that in air quotes, when you're away from your office, which is really your device, whether that's a laptop or an iPad or a desktop application, when you're away from Connect, you can have your Connect phone number forwarded to your cell phone, to an alternate number, so you'll never miss that client call. When you do dial out, if you do want to be able to record, the call has to be managed within your desktop. So whether you're calling out or receiving a call in, you have to manage that call within the application in order to engage the call recording feature of Connect.
Exactly. And from a compliance standpoint, guys, you know how this works. So recording calls for the carriers that are giving us permission to enroll telephonically, that's the stipulation, is that you have the ability to record the phone calls. And with Connect, you get that ability. So if you are forwarding the phone number from your office and you're out and about, you can receive calls, and it's very beneficial to have everything kind of funnel through and filter that way. But you won't have the ability to record the calls while you're on the forwarding, so on your cell phone. So you're going to have to make sure that the recordings are done through the system. So just thank you very much for that, Kathy. So just a piece of that is when you're in your settings, which is kind of where the heart of all of this is, in your profile, that's where you'll have your number displayed up here, as well as some information with a DID extension. You can have an outbound caller ID if you're interested in that, but once you go into call forwarding, that's where all the magic happens. So we wanted to talk a little bit about the call forwarding. I've turned call forwarding on, so for my account personally, so don't record my cell phone, guys, or Kathy's for that matter. But I can turn call forwarding on. I can add multiple numbers. I can have it delay. I can have timeout set up. It's very customizable to you. All of the features within here are. But what's going to be most important, and
you can turn that off.
Yeah, you can turn it off very easily. It's literally just a slide. So congratulations, it's been disabled. Congratulations, it's enabled. It works very seamlessly, very simply, and very quickly. So for the purposes of this, though, if you're going through and you're making phone calls, and as you're making a phone call, now, Kathy, I am going to make you answer this time just so I can demonstrate one particular portion of this, which is the most important, right? This is the recording feature of the Connect app part of the application. So I'm going to call your cell phone. And she's going to answer this, guys.
Hello.
Okay, so you're going to get a little bit of an echo, but once you're on the call, you have a record button. You're going to press that record button, and it's going to record that phone call from the moment that you press record. You can stop recording at any point, but if you are on a phone call with a client, especially discussing anything plan related, I highly, highly recommend that you leave the recording on. When it comes to the actual enrollment portion of the telephonic enrollment, you're going to want to have that entire call recorded because you may get inquiries from the carriers, and if you receive inquiries from the carriers, you have to be able to provide that call recording. So I'm going to, instead of stopping the recording, I'm just going to hang up the phone. And so I'm no longer talking to Kathy. But if I wanted to, I can go into my call history, and as I go into my call history, it's going to display all the recordings that I have. And as you can see, Kathy and I have been playing phone tag quite a bit in this system, but I have access to that recording instantly. I can download that recording. So once I press the recording button, I can download that. I can save it to my desktop. But honestly, what I would do with this is, if you wanted to, it's going to house itself within here. But if you are dealing with a particular client, whether you're troubleshooting or you're just going through kind of a lot of back and forth around maybe they get extra help, LIS, anything like that, you could download this recording and upload it into your CRM portion of MyMFG, just so you have a quick snapshot into the activity history. Again, it will always be housed here in Connect, so you have it available for any sort of reference that you would need.
And guys, we are also working on the functionality to have that recording auto-saved into your client profile as another activity history. But for the time being, you'll want to definitely make sure that you know where your recordings are if you're doing inbound phone calls for telephonic enrollments. So that's an important part to remember.
Correct. So you're going to have a lot of functionality. You can see the status of the calls, any sort of additional details that you would need there. Call history is going to be a really nice feature for you. You can also kind of search by, dates or filter by any sort of tags you have there. So that's going to be a really important feature of this. Again, not to overemphasize, but kind of to overemphasize, the recording has to happen if you're going to complete telephonic enrollments, and they have to be done through the Connect portion. So as we're kind of talking about that, we want to show you a couple other pieces of this, but to tie into the telephonic enrollment, I want to talk a little bit about what that enrollment actually looks like. So once you go through a complete enrollment in MyMFG with one of the carriers that's approved, as we said, it's Aetna, Humana, Blue Cross Blue Shield of North Carolina, and HTA. So once you go through those enrollments, the process is exactly the same throughout. Obviously, you would be recording through the Connect feature, the conversation that you're having over the phone. And once you get to the end of the application, once you've done the scope, you've gone through everything, you're going to come across a little bit of nuances. So I want to show you exactly where this is. So I took a screenshot for you that I'm going to drag over here. And for those of you who are visually impaired, I hope that you can see this well. This is just a screenshot of the bottom of the last page of the enrollment. Once the signature has been applied, once you've determined whether there's any need for, languages, additional languages, or any sort of special formatting, at the bottom you have to confirm your writing number. All right, so once you confirm your writing number and you hit submit, you're going to have this screen pop. Can you guys see this? All right, so now that I know you can see it, so this is going to be the box that pops. It's going to say confirm and submit. So by clicking I agree below, so the top portion of this you're going to see with all enrollments. This is always going to show, but in addition to that, if you're doing a telephonic enrollment with one of the carriers that we just previously mentioned, you're going to have this additional attestation to agree to, so that you've obtained written permission to telephonically contact the client, you've delivered all required sales materials prior to the presentation, you've completed the enrollment application in conjunction with an inbound phone call from the client. So it's really important, especially for Medicare, that you do not complete telephonic enrollments on an outbound call. I cannot emphasize this enough. If you've ever been a part of a call center or know about call center functionality, it works the same way. It's very important that the client initiates the enrollment and wants this enrollment, and one of the ways that they verify that is by whether or not the enrollment is completed on an inbound call. And that you recorded the conversation with the client. So you agree to that, you agree that you'll maintain the documentation, evidence in compliance with all this above, and you hit agree and the application is submitted. So as long as you have the recording that matches the enrollment and you've done it on inbound call, you are golden.
And Shelley, let me just clarify a couple of points for people. So for those on the call who have used MyMFG for MA enrollments previously, it's a standard form for pretty much every carrier, and you're accustomed to that. So the enrollment form at the bottom for Aetna, Humana, HTA, and Blue Cross will now show this entire screen. So what that gives you is the option to do either a face-to-face enrollment with the client or a telephonic enrollment with the client. So there you have the option. So if you were doing an Aetna enrollment, you would see what's on the screen right now. But of course, only the first 3 bullets would be applicable because you're doing the enrollment in a face-to-face.
Correct.
But if you were doing this Aetna enrollment with your client and your client is over the phone, then you have to be certain that you're satisfying the additional 4 bullet points in addition to the 3 that are above. So all 7 bullet points have to be satisfied, and you're confirming and really attesting that you have done so. With regards to documentation storage and evidencing of it, it is the agent's responsibility to make sure that they have recorded the phone call and that they have stored it using their Connect feature. If you have enabled recording and have saved it on your inbound phone call, and you receive the inbound phone call through your application, not on your cell phone, because if you get that call on your cell phone, it's not being recorded. It's only being recorded when you're within the application of Connect. So it is the agent's responsibility to make sure all 7 of these bullet points are satisfied, but if you do record the call in Connect, Messer will ensure that that documentation is stored and retained and is retrievable through your Connect feature in compliance with CMS guidelines for documentation storage. So we all know that's 10, 11 plus years. Our intention is to save these recordings as we do with the enrollments and the scope in perpetuity to meet those requirements for you and to help you in keeping all of your compliance information and all of your documentation, that if there's ever a question about the enrollment, you can easily access through MyMFG and through Connect, which is part of the benefit of using the software. So again, we've kind of emphasized that. I do just want to be very crystal clear that if you continue to choose, if you choose not to, if you do not receive Connect for free as an all-in agent with 50 clients on the books and choose not to have the Connect feature, then you cannot do telephonic enrollments. okay? If you don't have Connect, you cannot do telephonic enrollments. I can't say that. I said it twice. I won't say it a third time.
One more time.
But that's the rule. If you choose to purchase or enable Connect because you get it for free as an all-in agent with 50 clients on the books, then you have the option with Aetna, Humana, Blue Cross North, and HTA to either do those enrollments in a face-to-face meeting or over the telephone. And so that's primarily what we wanted to focus on today. I know everybody's heads are about to explode with all the information as they get ready for AEP. We will be happy to go over the additional functionality of the system, and once your account is enabled, you can certainly play around with that at your leisure. But we will do more training on the other aspects of the system. But I think at this point, we'd like to go ahead and open this up for questions if anyone has any. And we'll do our best to field those questions. And hoping that you can still hear us.
I think so. So let me go through here. Okay.
So we're scrolling through because I know a lot of people had some questions about not being able to hear.
Thank you guys, seriously, for letting us know. So 50 clients of any kind?
Yes, it would be 50 ACA Medicare clients. So you need to have 50 clients on the books as part of the all-in package. So if you're not familiar with the all-in program that Messer has, or would like some more information about that, you can certainly call the office and we can send you out some information on the all-in program.
Perfect. Okay, so as we're going through here, all right. You guys are great. Okay, here we go. Okay, so I can go back really quickly. I had a couple questions about going back and seeing how you got here. So if you're on your dashboard in MyMFG, what you're going to do is you're going to go to once it is enabled. So reminder, once you have Connect enabled, it's going to be under your Clients tab. It's going to be Connect right here under your Clients tab. So it'll be under the View Client List. And it's going to populate into a separate tab. So it's going to pop here on the side.
Okay, and so right now, if you're on your MyMFG dashboard right now, or if you're logged into MyMFG right now, nobody on this call can actually see this because nobody's Connect account has been enabled yet. But so all you would have is the top navigation bar that says clients. You don't have the submenu drop down currently. But again, once you enable or request the Connect account, and if billing is applicable, establish billing, then the Connect feature, then your Client tab will have the drop down for you to select Connect.
I'm getting a couple questions as well on forwarding. Guys, you can forward this to whomever you'd like. It's a number. So as long as you put a phone number in there to forward it to, it can forward to your office phone, your hard phone. It can forward to your cell phone, it can forward to your admin, it can go anywhere you'd like for it to go. So if you want to utilize the MyMFG Connect features, you know, as a CRM management tool, that's part of what this is. This webinar is built specifically around the telephonic enrollment piece, but there are several other pieces of functionality within here that are really going to help you manage your business, which is why it's called Office in a Box, right? So we definitely will focus more on that.
Okay, so there's a question about what if I already have the ability to record phone calls? Do I have to use Connect in conjunction with telephonic enrollments? You can record the phone call. If you meet the requirements that we just went over, obtained written permission to telephonically contact, you delivered a sales materials prior to the telephonic presentation, you completed the enrollment in conjunction with an inbound phone call. If you have the ability to record that phone call outside of the Connect feature, then that's fine. Here's the caveat on that though, and it's a big one. Then you as the agent are then responsible for the storage of those phone recordings for the CMS compliant 10 years. And you will be responsible for producing that to the carrier in the event that they have a question regarding your telephonic enrollment. And it is your appointment with that carrier that would be at risk if you're unable to satisfy that requirement. So we highly encourage agents that if you are going to use the telephonic enrollment feature for the approved carriers, Aetna, Humana, HTA, and Blue Cross North Carolina, that you use the Connect feature within MyMFG. But as long as you satisfy the compliance requirements of what you're required to attest to on each and every application you submit through MyMFG, then, that responsibility is yours.
Correct. And, thank you, Kathy, for emphasizing the compliance. Guys, I can't tell you enough. I've worked with carriers and agents and call centers a lot. And if you do a telephonic enrollment and you cannot provide a recording, that's not a good thing. The chances of you coming back from that with any sort of allegation or notice of investigation, you're pretty much up creek sans paddle. So I really thank Kathy and really can't emphasize enough, if you don't record it, if you don't have proof of an enrollment and there's any chance that a client says, well, we did it over the phone, they're going to come to you looking for it. So the responsibility is on you. I'm sure most of you have done some form of telephonic enrollment previously, but just want to make sure that you're aware of that. So will this webinar be recorded for agents who could not attend, Kathy?
I believe that we are going to re-record another webinar with an activated account so that you can see a little bit more information with regards to how the phone number is displayed, and we'll also associate it with some fictitious clients so that you can see how you can filter and access basically your telephone directory of your clients when it's integrated with your MyMFG account. So yes, we will be recording it, and we will be putting it in the support training tab under the recorded webinar section within MyMFG. So Shell, if you just go back into MyMFG, remind people that it's in the other section under support and training. We will be adding something under the training webinars.
And for those of you who've been on the previous webinars, they are up and posted here. So please feel free to reference those.
Right. So now I would really encourage people, because this is a brand new feature and because it has serious ramifications from a compliance perspective, I would encourage you to, have someone call you or use your cell phone and call yourself through your Connect phone number, record the call, and make sure that you're, bulletproof on making sure that you understand that before you do your first telephonic enrollment with a client.
Absolutely. So I'm getting a lot of questions about how do you sign up for a Connect account?
So after this webinar, if you are interested in the Connect feature, we will send you an information with some contact information. If you are an all-in agent, again, with 50 clients actively on the books, if you request the service, it will be turned on for you automatically. And if you don't meet those qualifications, then you'll be asked and provided information on how to set up billing. So after this, look for an email coming from Messer with a follow-up to the webinar, which will give you instructions on how to contact us if you do want to subscribe to Connect.
Yes, thank you. That's exactly what we needed. Test a dummy client before activating. Guys, you can play with the recording feature in this as much as you want to. It doesn't tie itself to an enrollment until you complete an enrollment. So once you have the Connect feature, once you have the functionality, you can call anybody you want and just record the calls, get in here, play with, downloading things. It is your toy to manage.
So what I would recommend is that you set up if you will, a test client in your CRM. So create a client profile, which is test record or test client, and go ahead and put a phone number on there so you can do some calling out and you can receive calls in from that test client. And again, just make sure that you're testing your recording capabilities, you're accessing your your call recording history under your call history. And again, Shelley, show us again, your call history is up on your top navigation. So you'll be able to see your call history, you'll be able to search by your call history, and so forth. So you can set up, you know, a test client or two just so that you can play with that activity. You don't necessarily have to have a test client in your CRM client area of MyMFG. You can simply have someone call you. You can call someone. Just, you know, ask a friend or a family member to help you test that functionality, just so that you become acclimated with it.
Exactly. And I'm getting a few questions on some of the additional functionality. One question that I'm going to answer just off the bat, screen sharing is not face-to-face. So if you are doing a face-to-face sale, you cannot do that through screen share. I think from a technology perspective personally that's a great idea, but that is not where the carriers are right now. Carriers are trying to catch up with technology and where things are, and so is CMS. So CMS does not, at this time, recognize a screen share as a face-to-face Medicare Advantage enrollment. So I can answer that one right off the bat. So I'm getting another question. Where do you enter notes, fill in info while on the call? You do that in MyMFG. That's why you have it in a separate tab. So you have the separate tab open so that you can enter information into your client profile. You can be completing the enrollment. Just if I were you, I would recommend either keeping Connect minimized and kind of smaller on your screen if you're only working with one. If you're working with multiple screens, put one on one screen and one on the other. But you have the functionality of both.
And that's why it Connect comes up in a separate tab. So you really can and are able to actually do the enrollment online with the client. You'll be able to go through everything with your client over the phone. You'll be able to quote the plans, discuss all of that. Remember, you have to provide sales materials to the client prior to the telephonic presentation, but you will be able to, you know, be multitasking, if you will, in MyMFG and while you're recording on Connect.
Yes, and then there was one other thing that I wanted to answer before we call from a client to the laptop. So the call forwarding, I know, is probably a little confusing, but you know, in the 90s, the old school call forwarding, you know, worked one way. It's not that different. It's just coming from a different location. Instead of coming from, you know, hard phone and pressing certain numbers to get there, you're literally just putting a phone number in and you're saying, I want it to forward here. And then after, you know, you could set up multiple numbers to have it forward to your cell phone. And then if it doesn't ring at your cell phone, you don't answer there, you can have it forward somewhere else. So that there's multiple avenues that you can pursue within this.
But Shelley, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe that you can only forward from the desktop application to your cell phone. You cannot forward from your cell phone to the application. So it is a one-way forward.
At least in terms of that, your cell phone, you could have your cell phone forward to the number that you have here, but that seems backwards in my logic, because unless you're going to be sitting at this all day, every day, that's not really the functionality that you want.
I suppose the question would come up from agents, though. A lot of their clients may already know their contact phone number
Absolutely.
as their cell phone number. So if you do have a client calling in, yes, you can have it forwarded to Connect. But again, if you're going to do that with a telephonic enrollment, I would highly encourage you to make sure that you have enabled and are capturing the recording of that forwarded phone call. More directly, you know, because you do have to have clients contact you inbound for the telephonic enrollment, more directly, you would want to give them your Connect phone number. And quite honestly, as part of Office in the Box, the reason Messer offers this as part of Office in the Box is we really evolve, that then becomes your single point of contact and your primary phone number, because you'll have the ability to move it mobily when you want it to or not.
Correct. And I did get a question about enrollment scripts. Guys, most of you have been in the field for a while. You know how to complete a compliant sales presentation. As long as you're completing a compliant sales presentation,
there's not a verbatim script that you have to read.
No, you don't have a script. This isn't a call center. You are an independent agent. You have the ability to do that. Can Connect phone numbers be displayed on business cards and websites? Yes, this is your number. This number isn't associated with anything or anyone else other than you. So yes, please feel free to filter as much of your business through this as you are comfortable with. I'm going to look for just a couple more questions. We're running a little short on time, so I just want to make sure I'm touching everything. I'm getting a couple questions around training videos. Guys, we're putting together training videos as fast as possible. We're putting webinars out. I'm looking to try to have some additional ones posted by the weekend, so stay tuned. Keep an eye on your support and training tab. I know I just had a few comments say they didn't realize that the webinars were posted there. So I know we said that a few times, but keep an eye on it. You can't hear me. Can you guys hear me? I'm still here. Okay, just making sure.
Okay, Rebecca says she can.
Okay, just making sure. I had a couple people say they couldn't. So I'm just a little gun shy here. There was one other question I wanted to address, and then again, just to emphasize, the carriers, Aetna, Humana, Blue Cross North Carolina, and HTA. If you are already licensed and appointed and ready to sell, you guys know that all of the other pieces of this are closed, so you can't add carriers now that you may not have. If you don't have Blue Cross of North Carolina for MA, you don't have Blue Cross for North Carolina for MA. So wanted to make sure I touched on that. I'm going to take one or two more questions. Let's see. We are looking to add additional carriers in the next year, but for AEP, guys, this is a very rigorous compliance request for a carrier. We had to go through a lot of validation, a lot of testing, a lot of compliance reviews to get approvals for the carriers that we have. We're so excited to be able to offer the carriers we have.
So let me just answer more specifically some of the questions. So there are carriers that we can quote through MyMFG. There are carriers that we can quote and enroll as long as the enrollment is from a face-to-face engagement with the client. And then we also have carriers that we can quote and enroll through either a face-to-face or a telephone call. So there were questions specifically about Cigna and Blue Cross South Carolina. We can both quote and enroll them as long as the enrollment is in a face-to-face meeting with the client. With regards to Bright Health, they are a new carrier. Right now, we are working with them to see if we can get approval to quote their plans through our application. But right now, Bright Health is not available through MyMFG, either from a quote or an enrollment perspective. I know this is a lot of detail. Which carriers can you do what with? We are going to be posting within the training and support section of MyMFG a simple spreadsheet grid, if you will, that will tell you what you can do, both for 2019 plans, because there are still some clients perhaps that you're writing a 2019 effective for, and then also what you can do for 2020. So that detail will be available in the training and support section of MyMFG.
Okay, so I'm just going to check here. All right. The purpose of the monitoring button. Where are you? Nope, don't see it.
activity monitor.
Oh, yes, that's just to monitor activity within the system. So again, there's a lot of additional functionality within the system. I'm going to put together a video that kind of highlights each one of these. It's extensive, it's expansive. There's a lot that you can do within here, as I'm sure you can see here. There's electronic faxing, there's screen sharing, there's cloud storage and sharing, there's a text messaging feature. There's a lot. There's video calling, but that's not what we're getting into right now. I will post videos within the MyMFG support and training tab to go over these features directly. I know it's a little overwhelming. There's a lot here. That's why we wanted to singularly focus on dial a phone number, receive a phone call, record the call. So, and make sure that you knew which carriers were available and the compliance around those things. So
just to be clear, the webinar that Shelley will post will focus specifically on just those limited features. And then later, after AEP, we can regather people. We'll be doing additional webinars, both live and recorded, that will address some of the other features within the Office in a Box Connect features. But so many of you have expressed the desire to be able to do telephonic enrollments, to really be able to optimize the amount of business that you can write during the season. And this was the tool that we wanted to deliver to you so that you could accomplish that. So I think we're going to go ahead and sign off. If you are interested in enabling Connect on your MyMFG account, be on the lookout for the follow-up email that will give you information on how to do that. And that will be coming out later today or first thing tomorrow morning.
thank you so much, guys. We look forward to this upcoming AEP. Have a wonderful day and a great weekend. Thank you.